What you're looking at isn't a paradise of light. It's the gateway to hell on Earth, Death Valley, the Valley of Death. A place where even the wind carries the breath of destruction. The ground here is so hot, it can scorch your skin in seconds. Air temperatures soar beyond 134 degrees Fahrenheit, 56 degrees Celsius. And the surface, over 194 degrees Fahrenheit, 90 degrees Celsius, hot enough to fry an egg and burn human flesh in an instant. But the truly terrifying thing isn't the heat. It's the creatures that have learned to survive in this inferno. In a place where the scorching heat turns the air into a shimmering mirage, who could possibly live here? Who would be mad enough to call this place home? The answer, the immortal creations of nature itself. High above, among the jagged cliffs, the desert bighorn sheep stands proud. It doesn't need water, because every leaf it eats already holds what it needs to survive. It climbs sheer rock walls as if gravity doesn't exist, searching for shade and life. Down in the valley floor, the kangaroo rat, tiny but a true biological miracle. It has never drunk a drop of water in its entire life. Its kidneys are so efficient that its urine is almost solid. Its entire body is a perfect machine of moisture conservation, and deep inside a narrow crack of limestone, a small fish, a relic from the Ice Age, endures. Trapped in a pool of hot water at 93 degrees Fahrenheit, 34 degrees Celsius, in brine so salty and starved of oxygen that no other life should exist, yet somehow it does. Only a few hundred remain, but they live on, a symbol of endurance itself. Death Valley doesn't kill everything, it selects, and only the strongest are allowed to stay. Every creature here carries a miracle of survival within it, but one of them has turned the life of others into the condition for its own existence. And that's when the death rattle begins to echo across the burning sands. Beneath the scorching sands and the brittle brush, there's a sound that can stop your heart cold, the death rattle of the Mojave rattlesnake. Don't mistake it for the others you've seen. It doesn't chase, it waits, hidden beneath dry shrubs buried in sand. One rattle and then a strike faster than lightning. What makes this serpent the most feared in all of North America isn't just its aggression, but the deadly biochemical engineering inside its venom. Not one toxin, but two. One destroys the body, the other shuts down the nervous system. Hemotoxin, it tears blood vessels apart, making your blood unable to clot. Neurotoxin, it severs communication between brain and muscle, turning you into a prisoner inside your own body. And the most terrifying part? It doesn't hurt, not at first. Just a small bite, a little swelling. You think you're fine, but hours later, the collapse begins. Vision blurs, your jaw locks, breathing becomes impossible. Your mind stays awake, but your lungs no longer obey. You feel every second as life is slowly strangled out of you by invisible venom. This is not just a snake. It is nature's perfect weapon, the masterpiece of evolution itself. But if the rattlesnake is the death you can see, then Death Valley's true killer is the one you cannot. Heat, a slow, dry, merciless death. Here, the heat doesn't just burn, it crushes the will to survive. In 1913, at a place fittingly named Furnace Creek, the thermometer reached 134 degrees Fahrenheit, 56.7 degrees Celsius, the hottest air temperature ever recorded on Earth. The ground itself, over 194 degrees Fahrenheit, 90 degrees Celsius. Hot enough to melt shoe soles, ignite rubber tires, and boil the blood in your veins. Why? Because Death Valley is a perfect trap for heat. Four forces
As the
forge
moist
this
Pacific
natural
air
inferno.
ascends the
The
Sierra
rain
Nevada,
shadow.
it
The
cools and
Sierra Nevada
condenses.
mountains
But
block
once it
every breath
crosses-
of moisture from the Pacific. No clouds, no rain, no mercy. Below sea level, the valley sinks 282 feet beneath the ocean's reach. Air descends, compresses, and heats, just like the barrel of a bicycle pump after too many strokes. Dark, barren ground, it absorbs sunlight like a sponge and reflects it back, turning the desert floor into a massive oven. Trapped by mountains, hot air can't escape. It circles, thickens, and bakes everything caught within. The result? A natural furnace, a world without shade, water, or forgiveness. Here, even the wind burns. Breathing feels like swallowing fire. And shadows? They're just mirages. But even in the heart of Death Valley hides a secret, a mystery that baffled scientists for decades. The sailing stones, across the cracked floor of racetrack playa. Massive rocks, some weighing over 700 pounds, 300 kilograms, leave long winding trails that stretch for hundreds of meters. No windstorms, no footprints, no machines. And yet, by morning, they're gone moved. People whispered about magnetic forces, or visitors from another world, but the truth turned out to be far more delicate and far more astonishing. One cold winter night, rainwater pooled across the barren lake bed, freezing into a thin, glass-like sheet of ice. At dawn, sunlight fractured it into giant floating panels. And then, with just the faintest whisper of wind, the ice began to drift, pushing the stones silently over slick, muddy ground. Slow, graceful, inevitable. A dance of wind, water, and time. Nature isn't supernatural, it's simply so precise, so elegant, that it feels like magic. Go farther, and you'll reach Badwater Basin, the lowest point in North America, 282 feet below sea level. Before you stretches a vast, blinding sea of salt, the Earth's own lunar landscape. Once, this was ancient Lake Manly, a body of water that vanished thousands of years ago. Now, rare rains carry minerals down from the mountains, but there's no escape route for the water. It evaporates beneath the punishing sun, leaving behind a salt crust nearly 5 feet thick, a frozen mirror of time itself. Every crystal holds a story. Every step across it feels like walking on the floor of a vanished ocean. And even here, in the ugliest place on Earth, life persists. A single, tiny species of snail lives in these briny pools, clinging to existence in water so salty it could kill almost anything else. Somehow, it endures. Because nature never truly surrenders. But Death Valley is not only a realm of death. When the sun sinks, the inferno transforms. The heat falls away. Silence descends. And above an explosion of stars, Death Valley is a gold-tiered dark sky park, one of the best places on the planet to see the Milky Way with nothing but your own eyes, so vivid it feels close enough to touch. No city lights, no engines, just you, the cosmos, and the sound of your own heartbeat. In that moment, even the Valley of Death feels sacred. After the heat, after the death, after months of endless drought, a single rain falls, just a few drops, but it's enough to awaken millions of seeds lying dormant beneath the sand. And then the impossible happens. Death Valley blooms golden, violet, pink, and white flowers unfurl across the desert floor, spill over the ridges, and paint the horizon like the earth itself has decided to smile in the middle of hell. It's called the Superbloom, a rare explosion of life, a reminder that life never truly dies. It merely sleeps, waiting for the rain. If this journey moved you, hit like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below, because between life and death, we are all just temporary guests in nature's vast domain. And Death Valley is its most powerful reminder that life, fragile as it may be, is still the greatest miracle on this planet.